Congress is absolutely sick of the VA, and not just over this scandal, although that's one piece of it. This Congressman, Mr. Luttrell, absolutely understands the big picture and really digs into the VA secretary. If you get value from this channel, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Let me know your thoughts below on what is being said here, because this is hardball. This is no joke. Let's go ahead and dive straight into this. Here we go.
Always kind of consequences of actions in here, and I don't see Mr. Crane in here yet, but I'm sure if he comes in when we round this corner, you're gonna get an earful about it.
I have every
get ready. But I want to talk about, so you and I are on the same page 100% when suicide prevention is the number one issue in the VA.
Yes.
Right? We lose sleep over that at night. Yes. And as much as I've been reading on this issue that we're talking about right now, here I want to try to put this in perspective. I'm sure you have it, sir, but so in the mental health and suicide prevention in the office in the department in VA, so the director of continuous care and general health makes around $300,000 a year, all right? And the CSI was $76,000 that was paid out. Now here's my problem. So what was the suicide rate at last year for veterans?
We had more than 6,500 suicides. So I don't remember the rate.
The numbers are continuously going up. They're not decreasing.
They had been going down. I think
they went down in
year.
20,
yeah,
but they jumped back up.
Right.
We had this conversation.
Correct.
So the system itself is failing. I don't have a problem saying it. The system itself is absolutely failing our veterans. And I don't walk away from the challenges of emotional distress and cognitive instabilities. I don't. It's a very hard pulse to catch.
Yeah.
But the executive director for suicide prevention received almost 50,000 in CSI. The deputy director for field support and analytics, which has been in office since 2016, got $48,000. And then the deputy director received almost $50,000. Now, I'm pretty sure you probably yanked all this back, but my point is we just rewarded these people for failure.
Look,
I'm sure, you're gonna try to explain this to me. That's
I get it. And I guess I want to say the following, which is all the CSIs that went to senior executives have been taken.
Okay, thank you.
2, though the people in these jobs are people, not every one of them. And that was my point earlier, which is that you cannot read the statute and say that this was an acceptable use of that statute. However, there are people with very critically important skills to veterans. A senior psychologist who's dedicated his life to taking care of these guys.
I'm tracking that 100%, Mr. Secretary,
right,
but I'm going to argue with you all day long. If the numbers continue to go up over the decade after decade, that particular individual is not doing a good enough job for our veterans. And giving them bonus money for that is a slap in the proverbial face of all the veterans walking around outside and the families that are left behind, period.
Yeah, except each of that, I'm not gonna try to defend that we're succeeding, but I am gonna tell you that we have a team that is working this extraordinarily hard. And they could walk away from this and go as a psychologist, psychiatrist, be remunerated at 3x somewhere else. And they're choosing, because of their love of this mission, because of their love for those veterans and their survivors, they're investing that skill here. Now, does that mean I'm comfortable that we're succeeding? I am not comfortable with that. But we won't succeed without them.
We're not succeeding with them.
I'm telling you that those guys.
Hey, this is an end, sir. We're 15 rounds on this one.
I understand.
But these numbers are what I have to explain to my veterans and the families back home, plain and simple. And this is what I'm hearing. And I wish those two were sitting here in front of me and not you, sir. Because they're the ones I need to be talking to. You're up here sweeping it up. You're trying to do best with your department and make it the best department ever. Hands down, I think arguably the best secretary Mr. Biden has. I say that out in front of God and everybody. All right. But
I hear you.
I yield back, sir.
I hear you.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so I definitely have a few thoughts here. One, way to gut check the VA, and there's arguments on both sides. What the secretary is saying is that the people in charge of that could leave and go make more money elsewhere, which is true. The VA is underpaying folks. Who would have thought that? Okay. But then the comment of saying we're not succeeding with them is deep. And my personal thought on this, and this is just me, I'm going to argue the issue isn't actually the veteran suicide issue, isn't actually the VA's fault. They get dealt with the problem and they have to find the solution. And I'm going to be real with you. Very close friends that I've had, leaders I've had, subordinates I've had, all killed themselves. Those who did kill themselves. It's not a black and white answer saying if they had this, then they wouldn't have done that. It's much, much more complicated than that. I think the problem is rooted. It needs to be addressed within the DoD at the source, okay? Especially after a 20-year war. I really don't even know. It's such a complex problem, man. I think the DoD in general needs to care for service members prior to them being discharged, especially on the mental health side of the house. Catch that as early as possible, just like you would any other cancer or illness. Catch that as early as possible, because as that develops and it's already at this level, and then the VA is dealt this problem, I'm not saying they're not at fault. All I'm saying is I don't think the answer is as black and white for veteran suicide as everyone makes it seem to be. Now, as far as awarding, giving bonuses to those who are failing, that's absolutely insane. I love how he's taken this VA committee on the VA bonus scandal and really seeing the big picture, saying, okay, let's just say that these bonuses were justified. Why did they get it? Riddle me that. If it wasn't for the critical skill incentive, let's just say that didn't exist. Why did these two individuals who have failed at their job, literally, and as the numbers show, they failed and they were still awarded a bonus? What does that say about accountability? What does that say about VA leadership? I have to agree on Mr. Congressman Luttrell's comments on the secretary, because he is on that podium taking the shot when honestly it's not his shot to take. Okay, I've got to give it to him to that. But man, I think this VA scandal is opening up some doors, and we could see some more come out of this, especially from the Undersecretary of Health. I think he's going to be fired. I think the Undersecretary of Health is going to be fired. We'll have to see what happens in the coming days.